Some people call this the good book, the original good book. But as Robert Ingersoll brilliantly pointed out in his passage about the human Bible, the good part isn't original, and the original part isn't good. The Ten Commandments. Some Christian lawyers and judges have said, and still say, that the Ten Commandments are the foundation of all law. Nothing could be more absurd. Long before these commandments were given, there were codes of laws in India and Egypt. Laws against murder, perjury, larceny, adultery, and fraud. Such laws are as old as human society, as old as the love of life, as old as industry, as old as the idea of prosperity, as old as human love. All of the Ten Commandments that are good are old. All the new are foolish. If Jehovah had been civilized, he would have left out the commandment about keeping the Sabbath. And in its place, he would have said, "Thou shalt not enslave your fellow man." He would have omitted the one about swearing and said, "The man shall have but one wife, and the woman but one husband." He would have left out the one about graven images. And in its stead, he would have said, "Thou shalt not wage wars of extermination, and thou shalt not unsheath the sword except in self-defense." If Jehovah had been civilized, how much grander the Ten Commandments would have been. All that we call progress, the enfranchisement of man, of labor, the substitution of imprisonment for death, of fine for imprisonment, the destruction of polygamy, the establishing of free speech, of the rights of conscience, in short, all that has been tended to the development and civilization of man, all the results of investigation, observation, experience, and free thought, all that man has accomplished for the benefit of man since the close of the Dark Ages has been done in spite of the Old Testament. Is the Old Testament inspired? If anything or can be certain, the writers of the Bible were mistaken about creation, astronomy, geology, about the causes of phenomena, the origin of evil, and the cause of death. Is the Bible any nearer in its ideas of justice, of mercy, or morality, or religion than in the conception of sciences? Is it moral? It upholds slavery. It sanctions polygamy. Could the devil have done worse? Is it merciful? In war, it raised the black flag. It commanded the destruction, the massacre of all, the old, the infirm, and helpless, of wives and babies. Were its laws inspired? Hundreds of offenses were punished with death. To pick up sticks on Sunday and to murder your father on Monday were considered equal offenses. There is in the literature of the world no bloodier code. The law of revenge, of retaliation, was the law of Jehovah. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a limb for a limb. This is savagery, not philosophy. Is it just and reasonable? The Bible is opposed to religious toleration, to religious liberty. Who differed with the majority was stoned to death. Investigation was a crime. Husbands were ordered to denounce and assist in the killing of their wives. Is the enemy of art. Thou shalt make no graven images. This was the death of art. Palestine never produced a painter or a sculptor. Is the Bible civilized? It upholds lying, larceny, robbery, murder, the selling of diseased meat to strangers, and even the sacrifice of human beings to Jehovah. The blood of a bird killed over running water was regarded as medicine. Would a civilized God daub his altars with the blood of oxen, lambs, and doves? Would he make all his priests butchers? Would he delight in the smell of burning flesh?